Opinions presented on the Healthy Steps show are the evidence-based opinions of Dr. Fred Harvey, the callers, and his guests. These are not the opinions of the staff, the volunteers, or the board of WMNF. The information provided on the show is not intended to diagnose or treat any disease. There is no implied patient-physician relationship in these calls. The nature of the calls is educational and informational only. Good morning to all of you Healthy Steps radio show listeners. This is Dr. Fred Harvey. We are listening to WMNF Tampa 88.5. Today is a pre-recorded show, so there will be no call-ins.
Good morning to you there, Sandy.
Dr. Harvey, I'm just wondering if you were familiar with dermatomyositis.
Dermatomyositis is an autoimmune condition.
Uh-huh. Are you familiar with the condition?
Well, as familiar as anybody can be with an extremely rare condition.
Okay, so not that much. I was just wondering if you knew about BPC 157, if that would be something that would be helpful to that condition.
Okay, so BPC 157 is a completely different question. BPC 157 is a peptide. And
yeah, I'm asking if it would be helpful for the dermatomyositis.
Yeah, I heard you. And so I'm going to do a little education. BPC 157 is a peptide. Peptides are proteins, little mini proteins that are made by your body and other animals and things, and they're communication molecules. And insulin is a small protein or a peptide. And growth hormone is a small protein or a peptide. They're very active little proteins. And so what we're finding is that these peptides are actually helping change conditions. And the signaling that these chemicals do helps change the way the body talks to itself and about the issues that are going on in the body. So the use of peptides has become more and more popular in recent times. Like there's a chronic diarrhea condition that can be helped with using a peptide to help stop the diarrhea. There's some really interesting uses. In fact, as we understand them more, I think we're going to find that we're going to be doing more communication with these things and helping bodies. Like we're finding the GLP-1 agonists. I think you might have heard of them. They are the Ozempic type medications. Those are peptides.
Okay, so it would be helpful with this condition.
Well, yeah, the GLP-1 condition peptides, they can be really helpful in this condition. They are really, the Ozempic type medications are stopping inflammation across the board. The BPC 157 is an over-the-counter supplement that is potentially quite active. And I've heard colleagues talk about how they're very happy with the effects people are getting. But again, it's not a clinically studied thing. It's an anecdotally studied thing. Everybody's selling it because it's actually a very popular influencer promoted peptide right now.
Okay. Yeah,
so you might want to actually talk to somebody about getting on other ones, but I don't have any problem with you exploring these things. It may be of use. I just can't tell you that we know that it would be.
So the Ozempic one, what did you say that particular peptide was?
GLP-1 agonist.
GLP-1. But that will cause weight loss?
It causes weight loss. It causes changes in inflammation. It can stop and reverse Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's disease. It's pretty amazing stuff.
Right, but if I don't want to, I'm trying to gain weight. This condition has caused me to lose weight. So if I take the GLP-1, I guess I just need to double my caloric intake. I don't really know how to combat those two.
Well, I think that we need to look at autoimmune disease in a bigger picture here then, because taking a magic bullet like a peptide for a autoimmune condition where for some reason you're doing something that's triggering your body to attack itself. You need to figure out what you're doing that's triggering your body to attack itself. It could be that you're eating something, that you're wearing something, that you're living with something, mold, mercury, God only knows. I mean, you should probably see a doctor who's willing to actually explore why, not what. You don't need a rheumatologist because they just explore what. If they want to just stop the dermatomyositis, they'll give you a biologic, like a GLP-1 or an antibody or something. But if you want to get deep and figure out why it is you have dermatomyositis or why you are triggering it to be active, you might want to talk to a functional medicine doctor.
Like who?
You can go to ifm.org and you can do a search for a doctor in your area so you can see somebody in the office. But you could also go to functionalmedicineflorida.com and see if you want to book with me.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Have a wonderful day, and good luck with that.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yes, my jolly flock of aficionados, if these snippets of the show should sound familiar, you are right. You are listening to some of the greatest questions and answers from the Healthy Step Show with Dr. Fred Harvey. Because this special presentation is pre-recorded, I sincerely regret that we won't be able to take any phone calls today. But stay with us, because this rebroadcast has some listening treats so rare you'll want to keep them in the museum of your heart in a parlor you love to visit called WMNF Tampa. So let's go to Lisa in Dade City. Good morning, Lisa.
Good morning. I have a question for you, Dr. Harvey, about eating a plant-based diet. I have been trying my best for the last week to get off of all processed foods and eating lots of fruit bowls, cut fruits of various varieties, as well as salads, some cooked vegetables, and I just am hungry all the time. There's no satiety. It just feels like I haven't eaten anything an hour or two after I eat, a large portion of fruit and vegetables. So that's my first question. I'll ask you my second question now, and then you can address both. I've heard you reference the Blue Zone diets before and the Blue Zone studies. I was listening to the BBC this past weekend, a science show. It's specifically on science. And they were talking about this Dr. Saul Newman, who has now debunked the Blue Zones. Just wondering what your thoughts were on that.
I don't know Saul Newman, and I think that people will attempt to debunk all kinds of things that they don't like. Is Mr. Newman a vegan?
I don't know what he is. I know he's a doctor.
Okay. So it seems that most of the literature that I read says that the modified Mediterranean diet is like the human diet. We've done it for so long that our bodies really like it. I also eat a plant-based diet, about 80% plant and 20% animal. And so that way I don't feel hungry. Like my breakfast today was a pineapple that grew in the backyard. I had a cup of pineapple and a half a cup of beautiful cottage cheese. And that's my plant-based breakfast. It was a cup of pineapple, so it was based in fruit, and I added some beautiful cottage cheese to it. So I feel really satisfied right now.
How do you source the cottage cheese?
Well, if I can't get the locally produced raw cottage cheese that I tend to use, I will get some high-quality organic cottage cheese.
Okay. Because I've had a hard time. I've had a taste. I used to, when I was a child, eat cottage cheese and fresh tomatoes, and so I kind of go out of my way to buy heirloom tomatoes now when I can find them organic. And I can't find the cottage cheese that I want to buy to go with it because everything I find is it's not. I'm sure it's full of chemicals and hormones and all that. There's
a wonderful farm, two farms out in Arcadia, Jersey Acres Farms, and what's the other one called? Jersey Acres and I'm blanking right now, but there's two organic dairies out in Arcadia, Florida, and you can actually order their product on Grove Ladder Farms website. It's a shopping cart website. You have to go and pick the stuff up or go to one of their delivery spots. You can also pick up the cottage cheese at Detweiler's farm stores all across Manatee and Sarasota counties.
Okay, what was the website again? Grow what?
Grove, as in the orange grove. Ladder, as in the ladder you climb up into the tree with. Farm. Grove Ladder Farm.
Ladder. Okay.
Search that and you'll find their shopping cart. And that way you can access some good food. Honestly, I believe plant-based includes animal. It's based in plants. I'm based in Sarasota, but I travel. I'm based in plants, but I eat animal.
Okay.
That's my definition of plant-based. I'm tired of hearing vegetarians talk about plant-based. It's actually vegetarian.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes, have a wonderful day and good luck searching out some satisfying foods.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate that call. Let's go to Ann in Gulfport. Good morning, Ann.
Well, good morning. Hi, Dr. Harvey.
Hello, Ann.
60. Good morning. I'm almost 64, and I've been physically active most of my life. And in 2020, I had surgery for a torn meniscus that didn't work. 3 months follow-up showed still debris, and my pain and mobility have gotten so much worse in the last couple of months. So I'm doing some research on stem cell injection from umbilical cord tissue. It's a little makes me a little nervous, and I'd just love to know what you think about that.
Well, back in about 1987, there was a study that was done by American radiologists. They wanted to figure out what X-ray findings actually meant. The study looked at the correlation between the nature of pain and the nature of the finding on the X-ray. And what they found out is that there is almost zero correlation between X-ray findings and pain. And so the fact that somebody found some debris in there on a subsequent follow-up X-ray or something doesn't mean that's the sole source of your problem. The movement of the joint is affected by the movement of the rest of the body. And so you may want to actually see somebody who looks at how that knee ties into the rest of the body. There's some specific specialists that look at this. Muscle activation technique specialists are personal trainers that work on peak performance. MAT, muscle activation technique. You can Google it and find somebody local to you. Another one is rehab chiropractics. Specifically, not just a regular chiropractor, but one that is a certified rehab chiropractor. They understand how the body works in conjunction with everything else in the body. And so they try to set you up with a functional movement program using taping and things like that. Physical therapists can do it too. But I think it's worth it to have an evaluation of your function before you have more things done. But I will say that if you're moving right, and your body is functioning right, and you've had that evaluated, stem cell therapy can be very effective at actually doing rejuvenation on that joint.
Oh, I like hearing that. Have you ever heard of the disc actually regrowing?
Well, there is some small amount of evidence there, but the ones that showed regrowth required vast amounts of rest and things like that. I think what we're getting is improved function, and that's the key.
Right. Okay.
So I think doing both, getting an evaluation of your physical functional movement, kinesiology, rehab chiropractic, MAT, physical therapy, something like that, and consider visiting a doctor who does the stem cell therapy. But after you've done the physical work, you want to actually be ready for the stem cell therapy.
Okay. I wish I could find somebody that did it all, and you could trust them to.
You're probably not going to find that, but you might.
No, that's the next thing. Yeah, that would be awesome. Well, all right. Well, I always appreciate your information, and thank you very much.
You're very welcome, and good luck with that. Hope you feel better.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, yes. Good luck with that. Let's go to another Ann in Gulfport. Good morning, Ann.
Hi. I have a question about magnesium.
Yes.
I ordered a magnesium supplement from my insurance company online, They sent me magnesium stearate. A friend of mine tells me that that's just mostly for, she said it was something for like male function, and the calcium citrate was better. Magnesium citrate was better. What's a good magnesium that would just be overall for just general? I eat a plant-based diet. I'm a vegetarian for years and stuff. I think I get plenty of magnesium in my food, but if I wanted to take a little extra, which would be the best time to take? Citrate, stearate, and there are a bunch of others you mentioned.
I don't know that there is a best one. I think that doing like magnesium sulfate or magnesium oxide, probably not as effective. They're more going to work as a laxative. But most of the other ones have fair absorption. And if you're eating, 7 or so servings of fruits and vegetables and having some nuts every day, you probably don't need more magnesium.
Okay, that's good. Another question is, I only weigh like about 104 pounds. I'm 4'11", and I cannot eat that much stuff all day. I generally just have 2 meals, and I usually have like 3 or 4 servings of vegetables, but I cannot eat all of that. This is recommended, like 20 cups of vegetables a day.
Yeah, so those recommendations are made for probably the average, 70 kilogram person. You're not that, so you don't need as much. You don't have as much volume to maintain. You don't need the calories, so you're probably doing fine with what you're doing. But personally, I like magnesium glycinate, magnesium bisglycinate, simply because I like the hormone or the amino acid glycine, because it supports the production of glutathione, your best detox peptide.
Hello, all you loyal fans of Dr. Fred Harvey. This spectacular Monday morning, you are listening to a special rebroadcast of some of the clips composing the Best of Healthy Step Show.
Let's go to Alan in Palm Harbor. Good morning, Alan.
Aloha, doctor. I'm glad I caught you. I have rheumatoid arthritis, 50-plus years, and I take all the typical RA stuff, from infusion to...
Have you had a functional medicine evaluation to find out why it is you react to things in a rheumatoid fashion?
No, I've dealt with rheumatologists all my life.
Okay. And what would you like to know today?
You had talked, I tuned in at the end of that, I don't know if I have it right, that LP1 supplement or something. You said it causes lose weight, it helps fight inflation.
Oh, okay. So GLP-1 agonists like Ozempic are medications. They're glucagon-like peptide number 1, and they resemble that. They're medications that resemble that hormone, and they act in your body to cause it to do things.
And is it an over-the-counter thing or no?
Oh, no, it's a medication that needs to be prescribed by a doctor.
Oh, and where would I get that test done that you were talking about just a moment ago?
You'd need to see a doctor who does that kind of stuff. You'd probably need a nice long history to find out where you might have your challenges. And then when I see a patient, I do testing of their metabolome to find out how the systems are running behind the scenes. And I look at things like the potential for, chronic Lyme disease can actually look like rheumatoid arthritis and trigger all the rheumatoid signals. Problems in the gut with certain gram-negative bacteria can trigger flares of rheumatoid arthritis. They're not the cause, but they make it worse. And if you control these other factors, you have less rheumatoid problems. And so looking at these different other signals in the body that rheumatology doesn't bother with because they have very potent medications that just arrest the disease in many people, and make it so you don't have to do any work about maintaining your own body's health. These are very extensive, esoteric, and deeper evaluations to help understand why you got to where you are. And so you need to look for that kind of doctor in your area if you want to, because that's who looks at these things on a deeper level.
And what's your office phone number?
I would suggest that you go to ifm.org and you do a Google search, or you do a search on there in your area. They usually do a 25 or 50 mile search for a doctor in your area.
ifm.org?
Yeah, it's the Institute for Functional Medicine.org.
Gee, and what type of doctor am I looking for?
A functional medicine doctor. That's all you're going to find on that website.
Okay, beautiful. Listen, I certainly appreciate it, and if I have an extra moment here, I'd like to ask you about my wife who's had diagnosed with fibromyalgia for years.
Well, I think that's another big conversation. Why don't you have your wife give me a call?
Well, I'm not home. I'm in the car, but I will tune in next week and see if we can't do that.
Okay.
Thank you very much,
Great
Doctor.
week.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Take care.
Thank you, Alan. We look forward to your wife's call next week. And meanwhile, I'm going to go to Tom, and I've got Mary and Jeannie on the line as well. Let's go to Tom. Morning, Tom.
Good morning. 2 quick comments and then a question. First off, on the Blue Zone debunking, the guy found that in, I believe it was Okinawa or somewhere in Japan, that the people were lying. They were collecting the retirement checks after people died, so it was skewing the age of the oldest average. Because people were collecting checks from people that would have been 100 years old when they had actually died earlier.
Okay.
I'm curious how many non-Blue Zone places do that as well. So I'm thinking that his skew could be skewed by the rest of the skews, if that makes any sense.
Well, that's a good thought. But if they only looked at this happening in Okinawa and there's 7 other blue zones that they looked at, right. I don't think the Okinawa data would skew it all that much.
Well, the whole thing is all the non-blue zones that he didn't look at, how many of those people were collecting checks from people that were 70 years old or 80 years old and that had died, 10 years earlier.
Right. But what I'm saying is the data they looked at actually in those blue zones, if this doctor only showed that Okinawa was the one that lied, then it didn't skew the whole thing very much as far as I'm concerned.
Well,
the bottom line is...
he looked at all the blue. I think he looked at several of the blue zones, but I don't think he looked at the places... I don't think he looked at the places that weren't blue zones. So,
gotcha.
That's what I'm saying. Anyway, I wanted to also stress the importance of if you're going to eat cottage cheese, to look for the active and live cultures. I think that you might as well get the double whammy benefits of the casein and the active cultures.
You definitely want active cultures. I agree.
Right. And I wanted to point out that so many of the brand name cottage cheeses are pasteurized.
Yes.
And, I was just so disappointed to see that. If you can't get organic in your grocery store, the Daisy brand is the only one I've found in the major grocery stores that has the active culture. And
wow, okay. Good tip. Thank you, Tom.
And congruently, my question is on casein. Because, this is, it's sounding like the miracle protein that we want as we age to get that slow release protein. And I tell you, I'm almost done with red meat. It doesn't really taste that good to me. Even poultry doesn't taste that good to me. I love cheeses and cottage cheese as well. Mix it with all kinds of things. And then there's the Greek yogurts and all. So. What do you have a take on casein? Are there any caveats to it? And what do you think about it?
I think using commercial dairy products is questionable, but using organic ones that are well cared for, etc., is better. I think that pasteurization causes the creation of a chemical called a glycation product that is something that's potentially allergenic, and so avoiding pasteurized dairy is probably a good idea for people that tend towards allergy and autoimmunity. But I think casein is a fine protein, and it can augment anyone's diet that's not sensitive to it.
And there's no real caveat to it. It's not going to hurt you. You can't like OD on cottage cheese.
Well, you can take too much protein, absolutely. People overdose protein in America all the time because they're obsessed with it. But casein in itself is not a problem unless you're reactive to it.
Right. But if I was going to substitute my main protein, if I was going to make casein my main protein, not I eat greens, I eat all kinds of vegetables and everything else too. But if I was going to get off the red meat and all that. If I wanted to, focus my proteins, well, I shouldn't say focus, but, kind of up my proteins in the casein direction, that would be nothing wrong with that, right?
Well, I just don't think that humans have lived on high dairy protein for very long. I don't think it's a wise choice. I think I'd actually switch over to eating canned smaller fish like mackerel. Had mackerel salad for lunch yesterday. It was delicious. Much lower mercury than tuna and an underutilized species.
Right. Yeah. I'm a sardine freak.
There you go. So that's a better protein source, I think, than doing dairy all the time.
Well, yeah. I wasn't going to make it exclusive. It's just that kind of like substituting red meat with cottage cheeses and cheeses that have.
I would substitute mackerel for the red meat if you're going to do it.
Well, I'm not taking my sardines out, and I like mackerel too. But I'm going off of red meat.
Tom, I have no problem with you using casein. No problem at all. I have no problem with you reducing red meat, especially if it's commercial red meat. If you're not getting red meat from a place like Grove Ladder Farms that raises the cow on their farm from birth to end and doesn't feed it any grain and then has it ethically slaughtered, I mean, that's the kind of beef you want to eat.
Yeah, or if you can't afford it. I'm with you.
Right.
Okay. Thank you, buddy. Have a good one. See you.
So let's go to Mary in Chicago, of all places. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning.
Hi, Mary. What do you have for us today?
Hi, doctor. Thanks for taking my call. My question is related to dementia and Alzheimer's, which unfortunately runs kind of heavy in my family. And I have heard that there's a couple studies out there recommending the most recent shingles vaccine as something that could be somewhat preventative with Alzheimer's and dementia. And then secondarily, my functional doc ran some labs on me, and I haven't had a chance for the follow-up yet, but one of the labs that came back low was something I'm not familiar with, and I was just curious if you are. It's called it's all capital letters, VEGF, plasma, and my levels for that were low. So just any thoughts you might have.
So you want to know what low VEGF means?
Yes, and if you have heard about the studies with the shingles vaccine, or if you have any thoughts on that related to dementia and Alzheimer's.
Okay, good. So we know that inflammatory illnesses will promote neurodegenerative illness or disease. Mm-hmm. Alzheimer's, for people over 65, 2 systemic inflammatory events can actually increase your risk of descending into Alzheimer's by like 50%. And systemic inflammatory events include things like shingles. There's another thing about shingles that's fascinating. Shingles, the virus, is harbored in your brain. And it comes out of the nerves in your brain, and that's how it comes down the nerve root and shows up in your skin. The place in the brain that seems to have the shingles is in the memory center. And the beta amyloid, the abnormal protein that is associated with dementia pathology, actually appears to be an antiviral because the virus is in an area of the brain in which the beta amyloid lays on top of it. Mm-hmm. And what they have found is that when you remove the beta amyloid, people's neurodegenerative disease increases. All of the beta amyloid medications have caused, or almost all of them, have caused an increase in symptoms because they probably released the virus and it's eating the brain. So yes, it makes sense. If you have had chickenpox and you have not had a shingles vaccine, get one because it may actually reduce your risk of a systemic inflammatory event and prevent degenerative neurologic disease.
Oh, thank you. Now I understand the connection.
Yes. So, and the second one?
Mm-hmm.
Your question, second part of the question?
Oh, yes, VEGF.
The EGF, that is a signal. That's a communicating molecule in the body. And if it's low or high, it means you're having some inappropriate communication. It could mean you have some systemic inflammation. VEGF can be changed from things like chronic Lyme disease, mold disease, and chronic Lyme problem, or chronic COVID problems.
Okay.
So it should be evaluated, and your functional doctor can help you dig deeper into that.
Yeah, she will. I just was wanting to get your take on it, and I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Have a great day.
And you. Good luck with that.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Thank you there, Mary. And let's go to Jeannie in Clearwater. Good morning, Jeannie.
Good morning. I have a question about seeing a functional medicine doctor before I go see Dr. Medicaid because I'm getting ready to turn 65. Right now I'm perfectly healthy. I don't take anything. And so I thought if I go see a functional medicine doctor before I see Dr. Medicaid or Medicare, I might better translate what he is telling me when I first see him. So if I go see your kind of doctor, my question is, what will we look at? How would we look at it? How would we analyze and discuss the results? And then lastly, how many appointments and amount of time would that take? And roughly understanding FCC rules, roughly what would it cost out of just my own pocket to do something like that? And that's my question.
Well, those are lots of questions, and that could take quite a while to answer. So one thing you could do is... So I'll just explain how I work, and I think many functional medicine doctors do. We take extensive history to find out who you are, because an excellent clinician knows who the client is that has the complaints, because that way we know how the complaints fit into your life. Then we look at some esoteric testing, not just your general cholesterol and sugar kind of stuff. I look at a metabolomic test called the NutriEval from Genova Diagnostics. And the NutriEval looks at the metabolome, looks at biomarkers from areas of concern in the body. So we look at biomarkers for how the gut processes things. We look at biomarkers for how the mitochondria create energy and process toxins. We look at the amount of antioxidants in the body and how much oxidative stress there is going on. Are you having tissue damage from oxidative stress? We can look at that. Do you have enough detox resilience? Is your glutathione level good? How's your CoQ10? What do your amino acids look like? Do you have a protein balance that supports the right structure? Do you have a fatty acid balance that supports anti-inflammatory process? Do you have the right minerals? Do you have excess toxins? These are the kind of things we look at. And then we put it all into perspective with your history. And then sometimes order other tests based on the history presented, possibly stool testing or allergy testing, food sensitivity testing, or all kinds of other things to possibly look at to help us figure out what the dysfunction is about and how to actually improve the function.
Okay, perfect. Now, is this usually done in several appointments?
Well, for somebody who's really healthy and just wants a functional medicine kind of plan, many people just do a consult and give you a plan, and let you run. I like to do programs, and many of us like to do programs where we have several visits with the doctor or the clinician, several visits with a health coach to help implement the plan, and in that time, do some solid coaching to get things from point A to point B. So there's lots of different ways people approach it. Some people are doing functional medicine in the insurance system and basically doing a little bit of functional education along with just general medicine. So there's all kinds of different ways to approach it. But, this is an educational show, so we don't really talk about what prices or anything on here, but you can explore that kind of stuff when you look around at different types of practices. And if you want to do that, I would suggest you just Google functional medicine in your area or go to ifm.org and do a doctor search and see what's available, because they'll actually explain what their practices are like to some extent on the IFM website. The doctor will give you a little bit of blurb about how they approach and what they approach. Do they focus on hormones, or do they focus on mold toxicity?
Okay, well, it sounds like a plan before I see Dr. Medicare at any rate, so I go armed with some information.
Great idea.
Yeah, I think so. All right, well, thank you so much for explaining the process.
Exactly. Thank you for calling.
All right, bye.
Indeed. Thank you very much there, Jeannie. Let's go to Sam in Tampa. Good morning, Sam.
Hi, doctor. I was recently diagnosed with diverticulitis, and I've been having pain, and he gave me antibiotics, and he said if this doesn't work, I might have to have surgery. I'm wondering what I can do.
Well, surgery for diverticulitis is a bit drastic. I think you need a stool test. And if they didn't do one, they're just throwing antibiotics at you. It's the standard Western medicine approach. Here's something we think it is. Here's something we think might help. Well, if it doesn't help, it doesn't mean that actually they're treating the right thing. It may be worth it to actually get another opinion. And I don't know many doctors besides functional medicine doctors that do the kind of stool tests that look for the issues you're talking about. Okay. I wouldn't let anybody do surgery on me after having one failed antibiotic round for a first-time diverticulitis.
It caused a lot of pain, and it made me feel like really weak, like I had no energy, and that's why I went to the doctor.
Yeah. I think you deserve a full workup for what's going on there, and not just a random referral to a surgeon to get it cut out.
Yeah, so what should I be doing right now before I can do that?
Well, it depends on what's going on right now. Are you having normal bowel movements? Are you having pain? Are you having fever, blood?
Pain, stools are dark brown, and the pain's not that bad now. It's gone down, but I've been taking antibiotics for 5 days, so... and I'm on a liquid diet right now. I don't even know. I've tried to Google what foods to eat or whatever, but this liquid diet is really hard to follow. And,
When you're adding things back in, I would avoid gluten and dairy at the moment, and add in nice, easy things like bananas and rice and applesauce and things like that. But, I think we're really pretty much down to the wire here, and those are easy suggestions. You don't want to stress out the bowel right now with heavy proteins and things like that. Even eggs might be too much. So go light and get to a good practitioner.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you, and have a great week. Hope you feel better, my friend.
Thank you.
So I think I'll move over to emails now. We're down to the last minute or so. First one I got today was, could you please speak to the debilitating pain associated with trigeminal neuralgia? The pain is excruciating. Yes, it can be. The trigeminal nerve affects one side of the face or the other. Trigeminal means that it's three branches. One goes up in the forehead, one goes down across the arch of the cheek, and the other one goes down to the jaw. And so it gets the whole side of your face when it's upset. And boy, it can be bad. So there are several different things you can do about it. I know that acupuncture can help. Laser, class 4 hot laser can help. You can also do curcumin, boswellia, fish oil, and other natural anti-inflammatories. Steroids can help it. If you go to the doctor, prednisone can actually help to reduce that pain. And while it's getting better, you might consider actually doing something like gabapentin to help keep the pain to a minimum, but that's not a cure for the pain, and it's not a treatment for the neuralgia. It's actually just to get you through the day until the neuralgia resolves. It can be a long haul, because that's what it is. It's a nerve pain, and it takes a while to calm it down. So best wishes with that.
All right now. It's a pretty darn good show so far, you got to admit, but it is someplace between deja vu and a flashback. And that's because this is a pre-recorded show of some of the best of the Healthy Step Show with Dr. Fred Harvey. And because it's a pre-recorded show, I regret that we won't be able to take any phone calls today. But, by golly, next week we'll welcome you back like the prodigal sons and daughters that we love here at WMNF Tampa. Now let's get back to the fun at hand.
Okie doke, I do have a caller there, Doc. I've got Joel in Tampa. Good morning, Joel.
Hi, Doc. Let me turn the radio off. Thank you, Doc. This subject is on my mind recently, as I heard the new Dean of Public Health at USF speak in a forum on Friday a couple weeks ago in the Portico in downtown Tampa, and he talked about all the wizardry of medicine. And I raised my hand and was able to talk to him about America's quality of life, which you talk about daily on your show. And I said, I looked at the quality. I looked at you. I looked at public health universities, the Nebraska, Indiana, California schools, and what do they do? What do you do about raising the quality of health in America? And I said, you don't do anything for me to raise my health, pushing drugs and continually recommending injections, which I have a great concern about. I don't trust public health, doctor. You can do better. And Doc, what I see is
Joel, I really like your point there.
They're running on a broken system on cash only.
Yeah, it seems to be that. However, public health has a much bigger mission than what you're focused on right here and right now. And during the pandemic, I believe that public health took a left turn because I believe that vaccine mandates are fascist. And I believe that no government should enforce medical therapies on anybody that doesn't want them. That is my libertarian nature. But I do know that we have very strong evidence, and it is not really very refutable, that vaccines work and that vaccines are useful. However, I also disagree with the pediatric vaccine schedule because I don't believe that any human ever gets 27 different infections at one time. And that's why I think we should actually stretch out the vaccine schedule so that the little toddlers' immune systems have a chance to adapt to each new challenge. But we do know that these actual injections have extreme benefit for public health. I'm not certain that the way it's done is extreme benefit for public health, because the way it's done is driving people who have less education and who have fallen for deceptive misinformation to actually avoid taking very good product.
The information is in, Doctor. You've been sharing this.
Yes, I have been. And the information is in that vaccines are effective public health tools. And I really thank you for bringing that up, because it was something we needed to talk about, because it is vaccines that have helped increase the lifespan and health span of humans on this planet.
Good morning to you there, Dave.
Hello.
Hello, Dave.
Yes, good morning. I haven't heard all of the show, but I think we're talking about quality of life issues for older people.
Yes, and the health span, function.
Okay. I would tell you exactly what I tell my doctor regularly. The secret to being old and surviving and enjoying yourself is getting your own rock and roll band. I have a 6-piece band called the Occasionals. We play all our own stuff. Our average age is 64 years and 3 months because we just added a 33-year-old guitar player. But I myself am 69. I've got a drummer who just turned 76, a guitar player who's 77, and we get together a couple times a week and just rock out. Do our thing. We're recording an album right now, and it keeps everybody happy and moving. It just
that's excellent.
What we do.
What's the name of your band, Dave?
The name of the band is the Occasionals.
The Occasionals. I love it.
Yeah, because we occasionally get to go out and make noise. But
you made some really good points there, though. What you do.
I'm sorry?
You made some really good points here. What you do, doing this playing, is so stimulating to your brain and to your heart that it's making you thrive. Getting together with people and enjoying what you're doing is part of thrival. We need to have socialization. We need to do things that are fun. And we need to do things that are challenging. So playing your guitar, playing your drums, singing, being in front of people, this is a challenge every time you do it, even though it's something you've done a long time.
It is. I mean, we've had challenges. The band's been together for 4 years now, and we've gone through hip replacements, heart attacks, amputations, and a few other things. Myself, I had a stroke 6 years ago. I used to be a guitar player, but it took out my whole right side. And so now I can't find the guitar with my right hand. So I switched to keyboards and the synthesizers and samplers and anything else that can make noise. And, it's not just...
But, hey, before you go on, Dave, what? You are amazing. You've had a stroke. You're showing the positive part of the way you deal with health challenges. You've had a stroke and you're out. You learned a different way to do it. You can't play your guitar. You're still doing music. I love this. This is survival.
My fans still love me. We got together. And things evolved. It's just.
I love it.
It's
That's
not
beauty.
just the once or twice a week we get together. We're all musicians. We're all songwriters. We're constantly working in evolving songs and bringing them to the band. It's a continuous thing, and it continually inspires you to be creative, and that brings positive results all the way around.
So where are you playing next, Dave?
Actually, we're playing it October 11th at a bar over here on 49th Street called Peepaws.
Peepaws, I love that. That's what my kids call their grandfather. Love it.
Oh, yeah. I'm not sure what the relationship is there. I've only been there a couple times, but yeah.
Wonderful. Hey, Dave, thanks for calling in. Let me move on to the next caller.
Have fun. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Indeed. Thank you for sharing that, Dave. Let's go to Jerry in St. Pete. Good morning, Jerry.
Good morning, folks. Well, I totally support the rock and roll guy and the previous caller also. So, congratulations, guys. Keep following your passion. That should work out great. So, Doc, I've gone over this with you before, and I think it's important to reiterate it. But I was wondering if you're familiar with a person who's passed away over the last few years named Elizabeth Satori.
Elizabeth Datori?
Satori, yeah, Greek woman. She was an entomologist who studied ants, and she's been involved with past administrations regarding or, agriculture, basically, integrated agriculture within community development.
Uh-huh.
So my premise is, and you've inspired me to do this, and so if you'd like to talk about this, I'd like you to, but my premise is the farther we move away from our food source, our healthy food source, the more we decline as a society. And unless that's reintegrated back into society, like the most successful societies that are in existence today, then we'll constantly decline in health.
I don't disagree with that at all. We should be eating close to the ground. Whole foods are our foods. Things in boxes with 27 ingredients aren't necessarily food. They look like food, they taste like food, they might even smell like food, but they're food-like substances that have weird chemicals in them to stabilize them so they'll stay in a box on a shelf for 27 years without going rancid. That's not food. That's preserved nasty gag. And so, yeah, the more stuff like that, multiple syllabic chemical constituents of natural foods aren't natural anymore. And so all these things are petrochem, industrial chemicals that are, many of them are like byproducts of industrial waste. You get soybean oil from industrial soybean growing, which isn't really agriculture. It's actually industrial destruction and extraction from the land. And so, yeah, we need to change everything we're doing. Local growing is key. I totally agree with you on the way we do agriculture. Every human who owns a plot of land in America should have food growing on it. Period. End.
I totally agree with that.
So that's the simple thing. Let's go back to the way humans live. We're not separate from this environment. We pretend like we are. We poop in our food. We poop in our beds, and we expect to be healthy. All these invisible fecal contaminants, petrochemical nastiness. We're pooping on ourselves. No other species does that. No other species soils its home. So why are we doing it?
Well, you can recycle that. You can put it into the compost back into the farm.
Well, actually, you can do that. You put it right on the farm, and you put that swill into
that yourself if you can. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what we're doing. We're making like human feces into fertilizer, putting on crops that cows eat, and then they get sick from having highly concentrated PFAS, and pesticides. Right. And then we ingest their meat and their milk. You think we're going to get sick? Get real. What are we eating poison for? Why does our federal government promote the consumption of poison for profit? This is our government. Owned by polluters.
I guess what I want to express is, unless we look at it from a planning perspective, and whether we build it on roof systems or whether we build it on individual lots, or how do we get agriculture back into community, high density, urban community development. So
it's a personal choice.
That's the goal.
It's a personal choice. It's a personal choice.
Exactly.
So each individual needs to start the process. So if you are in a city,
they need to think about it. They need to process it.
Right. Just start thinking about it. So the first thing you can do is if you're in a city and you have no land, put an herb garden in your window. If you have 1/10 of an acre, put a small vegetable garden, or how about on your patio, put box gardens. They talk about it on sustainable living all the time. These box gardens are amazing. They're so functional. Everybody can grow some of their own organic food.
And support your local farmer.
Exactly.
That's doing the job.
They're all around. Look up local organics and you'll find them. Just Google it. They're everywhere. There are so many good people growing food around you. And Tampa is that even as a co-op where people that grow too much food on their home lots share it with other people.
That's exactly right.
Sustainable living next hour and learn more. It's awesome.
There you go. Well, of course I listen to sustainable living. But Doc, you are the best, man. You are the best. You are the best. The WMNF is the best. I tell everybody, but you are the ultimate best. You are doing your job, man. You are doing your job. I'm so grateful for you. I want you to. I hope you fully understand that.
Jerry, I love you, and I love teaching, and I love teaching the truth, and I love talking truth to power because I'm sick of these corporate creeps lying to us. Thanks, Jerry. Have a great day and call in
You're
again.
doing your job. You too, man. Have a great week.
You have been listening to the Healthy Steps radio show with Dr. Fred Harvey here on WMNF Tampa. Right up ahead is 5 minutes of NPR News, followed by the Sustainable Living Show, hosted by the elite duo of Tanya Vidovic and Annie Ellis. Until next Monday at 10 a.m., thank you for supporting and listening to the Healthy Steps radio show with Dr. Fred Harvey here on WMNF Tampa, your community conscious radio station. Stay safe, stay thoughtful, and know that you are loved.